Hello and welcome to this lesson. Here we're going to learn how to open and save files in Excel. It's a very simple process. This won't take very long. Basically, after you create enough information in your workbook, you're going to need to save the file at some point, or maybe you need to open a document that someone's given you. So in order to do that, you need to go over to the File tab over here, which changes the screen completely and brings you to what Microsoft calls the Backstage view. So this is info related to the current file that I'm working on. It tells you when did I open it, how often has it been saved, who's the author, all of these kinds of things. It's the info section. All right. Now this particular file already has a name. I've already named this file sales data. That's why that's up here. So if I've made a change and I need to go ahead and save it, then I can hit the save button right from there, which does exactly the same as clicking this save button that's always on the quick access toolbar. Now, if for some reason I want to change the name, or if I've just created a document and I need to save it for the first time, then you need to go down to Save As. Save As is basically allowing you to give the file a new name or a different name than what you already have. And so when I click it, it gives me an option, a couple of options. It's basically asking me, do I want to save this to my computer? We'll get to that in a second. Do you want to save it to SkyDrive? You can have an account with Microsoft and you save this in the cloud if you want. Or I can add a place on the network or something. But in this case, and in most cases, you're going to be saving to your local computer. So I'll click that. And then it's giving me an option of where do I want to put this. It's saying, well, this is the current folder. These are recent folders. Or I can click Browse and I can find any folder I want on my computer. Well, for this case, I want to put this in the Worksheet Files area. And I can just type Sales Data Revise. Right? So let's say I made a change. I want to save a new copy of this guy to give off to somebody else. So I can click that. And then once I save it, notice the title up at the top of the screen changes to Sales Data Revise. So that's the difference between save and save as. If I click save, then it's going to just save under the current file name. If I click save as, then I'm giving it a new file name. That's the purpose of that. And generally, when you're just making little changes, like if I decide to delete this stuff, there with a delete key, and then I want to save that, I don't need to go back. I can just click the save icon up here, or Control S, which is what that tooltip was telling you, and it's going to save it under this current file name that's at the top of the screen. All right. Now, the other thing that the Backstage view does is it lets you print, right? So you can go ahead and click print, and when you do that, you have a dialog box that's kind of giving you a print preview. The reason it's cut off is because of the fact that the chart that I have is shifted over too far to fit onto the page. So it's giving me a nice preview. It's letting me have lots of different options for how my printout is going to look, the size of the paper, what printer I'm using, things like that. We're going to get into printing a little more later, but just suffice to say that you can print from this guy right here. You can also share and export and things like that. We'll get to a lot of this stuff later. Now, the other thing you can do from Backstage View is you can create a new document. So let's say I'm done working with my sales data document. Now I want to create a new document. I can click New, and it gives me a lot of options here. The first one is a blank worksheet. If I click this, I'm going to have a blank worksheet. It's going to basically look exactly like this tab here. It's going to look completely blank, nothing in there. That's most of the time you're probably going to be doing that if you're creating something from scratch. But there are a lot of different templates that are here, and I can actually go down here. What if I'm creating an address book? What if I'm creating a weight loss, thing? There are templates here for budgets. There are templates. Here's a budget template. There are templates here for calculating your net worth. Basically, Microsoft has put a lot of common templates that you might use, and they're all nice and beautiful and pretty. The only problem with using a template is that once you've used the template, you're kind of locked into what they have decided to do. You can make changes to it. It's just that they've kind of gone through great effort to make it look like this. So if you start making changes to it, you might not quite be sure how to change some of the things that they've done in there. And then you can type your search in here to find new templates online. So most of the time you'll be doing a blank worksheet, especially in this course to learn how to use it. If you want to go off and use some of these templates, you're more than welcome to try to go ahead and do that. But that's basically how you open files. Right here, you have the open dialog box. I can open from SkyDrive or from my computer. I can go browse. I can go click the open button, and there it would go. I can save. I can print. All of that stuff is from the Backstage view in Excel.